All right, so I'm going to try to start at the beginning and just know that I've had to interview 3 different people to get all of this. And so if I get things just a little bit misconstrued with the timeline, I apologize, but I'm doing the best I can. There's just so much to take in. So This is a story about a guy who's 21 years old, who's tangentially related to some friends of mine in their gaming group. And
How's
stuff.
his ass?
Big. He's about 3
story.
Big. He's 300 pounds. He's a 21-year-old guy, and he's a virgin. And he's a very fragile, emotional guy, it turns out. I put that together through a lot of these stories. But long story short, they're doing this big meetup. Everybody's going to meet at one guy's house, and they're going to party and hang out, kind of like what I did in Colorado with my buddies. But they're going somewhere else.
I find it hard to believe that 21-year-old 300-pound virgins watch a dope show like this. But carry on.
Well, that's the thing. They said he doesn't watch anymore, so it's cool. So he drives 16 hours to this friend's house, this gaming friend. They all meet at the house. Let's call it 3 to 5 of them. And they're trying to figure out the sleeping situation, right? Because it's not a mansion. And he's like, oh, don't even worry about me. I like to sleep on the floor in my sleeping bag, just like at the dorm. He hasn't ever slept in a bed. He's been sleeping in a sleeping bag on the floor always. That's how he feels comfortable. No beds for him. Don't worry about it. So he also notices
out of that. Like the Blind Side.
He also notices that the grass isn't cut at this guy's house, who, his host. He's like, hey, I noticed your grass wasn't cut. He's like, yeah, I don't know. And so the guy wakes up the next morning. They partied that night, so call it 11 a.m. And we'll call this guy Pete. Pete is our star. Pete cut the fucking grass at 5 a.m. that morning with this man's lawnmower. Not only that, because the man doesn't own an edging tool like a weed eater, he went and got one so that he could edge this man's yard up real nice.
The 21-year-old 300-pound virgin is out doing labor.
Out at the crack of dawn, cutting this man's yard and edging it up without being asked or asking for permission himself. So they go to the casino that night, right? And they're like, playing slots and stuff like that, just penny slots. And someone's explaining to this Pete like how casinos work, how there's no clocks on the wall, so you can't tell where you are, and all this money is just getting poured in, and like, I know I'm losing right now, I just don't care. And he starts crying. Pete starts crying because it's such an awful thing.
The idea of gambling?
Idea of sort of Western civilization and how wasteful and vice-filled we are. And just the casino environment, it upsets him so much he cries.
He's like the Green Mile.
He's
absorbing all this pain.
So that night they decide, after a bit of gambling, they're going to go to the strip club, right? Let's see some titties, right? So they're walking in, and one of the guys, who's normal, says, when's the last time you saw a lady's tits in person? And he goes, maybe 2 weeks ago. My mom was changing. I was hanging out with her, having a chat, and she was changing.
That's hilarious. Wasn't it a joke?
And they go, you didn't, you looked at your mom's boobs? He's like, well, we were having a conversation. It's rude to just turn your back.
Okay. You know what? He's right.
All right, so things are going to...
Norman Bates now.
If I was talking to you when you turned your back, Kyle, I wouldn't like that.
Dick, the things are going to start adding up here very quickly. Okay? So we get into the strip club, and the boys know that this guy's a virgin. So they're like, let's send him in the back with a girl, and let's tell her it's on us, and, let's let him have some fun.
Looking him up, yeah.
He's a rough-looking guy. Let me just say that right out the gate. I don't know what you're picturing, but
rough like Wild West, like pirate, or not,
rough like Hodor when he was a younger fella. And so Pete goes in the back with this vile fucking stripper, but by the time it's over, he has gotten himself a condom on $500 hand job. And
wait, what?
And a condom on $500 hand job right there in the back.
That condom on. All right.
Okay. And at some point, like, she gets on his phone and is literally trying to transfer money out of his bank account. He's like, no, don't do that. And so get in the car, and they're driving home, and they hear a noise in the back of the car.
Again?
He's sobbing because the hand job was so traumatic. He's sobbing over the traumatic hand job. And what's more, and I'm not going to laugh at this because it's so dark, that night and every night afterwards, he had night terrors about the hand job and and how traumatic it was.
And I was just laying there. I was awake, but I couldn't move. She was beating my dick.
Nocturnal emissions with his ninth first ever case.
Yeah.
He
The
decides
nightmare
there's
is like
only
she gets the phone and transfers all his money.
That's right. Have the night terrors.
it gets so much worse. He decides there's only one cure for these night terrors. He has to replace that terrible sexual experience he had with a good one.
Yeah.
So what does he do? Get on Tinder, maybe hit the scene, like going bar to bar, just talking to girls? No, he finds himself a prostitute. She's an hour, 2 hours away or something. She's $200 an hour and 1 hour away. That's the score.
Okay.
She's pretty hot, I'm told. Like think hot chick. I looked at her profile and it's just her ass, so it's I don't. That's all I got to go on. But they said she was pretty. He drives an hour, and he buys an hour with her, but he's so scared that they cuddle and watch TV for the entire hour. And she's like, "Honey, I've got another date after this. Like that's it." And he's like, "Okay, thank you, ma'am." And he drives back to them an hour back.
No.
But he's still horned up and he's talking to them. He's like, you know what? I think I'm ready. So he calls her back
You gotta
up.
be running out of money.
No, he's on. Trust me.
Okay.
He's got way too much. The girl who was trying to transfer the money out of his bank account, she almost got it all. But the prostitutes and the strippers, they're not there yet. He decides, I can do it this time. So he books 2 hours this time. And so
One
he
for
shows
TV.
up.
Yeah.
Virgins are known for how long they last.
He gets himself a good 30-40 minutes of cuddling in, and then he says he has sex with her twice, and it lasted for a total of 1 minute and 15 seconds. Both
Each?
times. No. No. He also described. He
You
also
could have, in theory, booked 90 seconds instead of 120
This guy
minutes.
tells the truth too much. This is the most criminally honest person on earth.
Yeah, good. So when he
keeps
kills
going.
somebody, he'll confess right away.
He described her on top of him as missionary, so it's hard to tell if they actually had doggy or if what that actually meant. But that's what he said happened. And then he had 30 more minutes on the clock after he came the second time, and she was like, you know what? I'm just gonna fucking go.
Oh God!
I'm peacing out, and she just left, straight up left, and so he drove back again. I'm imagining he's paying for hotels each of these trips out there as
She's
well.
not getting a good Cust-Sat survey.
No, he's not. Oh, he was so pleased.
I want to
with
see
the
her
service.
Yelp reviews.
I'll send it later.
She's a whore. And 5 stars.
My friend who was the host, it's his house who's getting like the yard done every night. He said, I had stocked the house with snacks, because I'm having all these guys come in. I've got beer and drinks and all sorts of like cookies and stuff. He's like, have you ever seen an obese person stress eat? And I started thinking about it. No, I haven't. When Wings of Redemption was at my house, I'll say this about Wings. When he was at my house, regardless of exercise or whatever, he did not go crazy with food ever once, unless he really somehow like snuck out in the night. And I do not believe that happened. He never went crazy with his diet at all. He said this guy went and got a 12-pack of moon pies. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, Zach, but I think a moon pie is about 450 calories. A moon pie is graham cracker, marshmallow in the middle, and it's all covered in chocolate. It's just little snack.
3 different kinds of sugar.
It's 3 different kinds of sugar, and they're
220,
wonderful.
he says. Okay.
Oh, that's all. Well, I don't feel so bad now. I think there's big ones, though. See if these are the big ones. They're individually
What's a serving
wrapped.
size? Like a third of a moon pie?
That's how they get you.
He goes and gets a 12-piece box of them, and my friend's like, I looked over and I saw you had the box, and then I started watching TV for a few minutes, and we made it like 8 minutes into a video, and I looked back, and he'd eaten 8 of them. And I said, bro, they're individually wrapped for a reason. I was like, you did not say that. You did not say that to his face. He's like, I did. I swear on my mother's life. And one more thing. They were chilling on the couch, and like my friend's, chilling on his own. He's on his own couch, like curled up on the couch, watching TV or whatever. Maybe there's a group of guys around. It's dark. It's night. And he said Pete is very pedextrous, which means he can like do stuff with his feet. And he's always trying to play footsie with you and trying to pinch your toes with his big toe and his. And
I thought pedextrous was when you could molest a child with both hands.
It was like when they told me all these stories, like they, oh, and then another time, I don't know if I mentioned this, but they're in the living room partying, like drinking and smoking, and like music's playing, and all of a sudden they hear, and he's sobbing again in his sleeping bag behind the couch.
Cries?
He cried every night.
Oh my
Is that
God.
I think that might be the 5th cry.
He's like a foster dog.
He cried like the whole fucking time.
Like a foster dog.
Oh, and then the last thing, and this one kind of like made me feel bad about the whole thing. Like the last day he was there, I think it was time for him to go, but he drove himself. So, what time are you going to leave, right? You're going to leave at 10 a.m., right, buddy? No, it's like noon or something. He's still there. And he asked the host, he goes, hey, could we please watch the last episode of The Boys together? And he was like, Kyle, he asked so politely, there was no way to tell him no.
I like it.
So we sat and we watched the last episode, but I made him keep his shoes on.
So no, there was no footsie pinching?
No footsie
going on
whatsoever.
Why did this happen? Was this like an outreach program for special needs weirdos? House that you
that it's just him trying to party with a bunch of guys, and they invited a guy they'd never hung out with before, and there's a few other things, but I can't tell them because it makes other people look bad too, and I don't want to do that. But the whole thing is real sad, and when I kept hearing the story from different people, and each person had more details, and the first person who told the story was him, by the way, so don't think I'm like talking behind his back. Like, he told us this fucking story. It is one of the saddest things I've ever heard. And the mom stuff, and the pinching my buddy's feet with his toes is just so bizarre.
I do. That would upset me. I don't want someone else's feet touching my feet, or I don't want someone else's feet touching me. Like,
not a man.
When I was 4 years old, my grandpa would do that. It's like I'm gonna get you kind of thing. I don't want a grown-ass man doing that shit to me in 2022, though, okay? Like, Taylor, if we were chilling on the couch, stoned, like watching Lord of the Rings, and you started pinching even more realistically, if you tried to like pull a tuft of the hair that's on my feet and make some Hobbit reference with your toes, I'd get up and leave.
You know what I would do if you didn't leave? I'd be like, this fucking weirdo just let me do that.
Bro, you were supposed to freak out. I thought I was being edgy.
I was giving you a shit test and you failed. Get the hell out, sir.
So fucking weird.
That is, but I feel bad for this guy. Like, first of all, what was the total amount of cash he was out? Like,
feel bad for the hooker.
1,100.
Well, not the first hooker. The first hooker got to watch fucking King of the Hill for an hour and then go to the next job.
And toe cuddle
same
with
hooker.
this guy.
Yeah. Same hooker twice. He just booked the same girl again.
Oh no,
the hot one though. You say
yeah. It was a hot girl he had sex with.
She's not transferring all his bank account money, and she's hot, and she fucked him twice in 2 hours.
Yeah. And I told him, I was like, that makes sense, because I think of hookers as, I don't know, decent women making a living, the old-fashioned way, and I think of strippers as like vile reptiles who can't be trusted, who'll go through your phone and steal your money.
He's also acting like it seems like in his head, being 21 and a virgin is like being 31 and a virgin. Like, you're 21. Like, you've got time to get it together. You're fine. Like,
no, he does not have it together.
I don't know. I don't know what this person looks like. I'm saying he's got time to put it together. He's 21 years old. A young Hodor, tall. That speaks to
he's got grass stains on his shirt at 6 a.m. from secret midnight yard trimming.
The most bullshit thing that I heard in that whole story was this guy thought he was being courteous by mowing the lawn at 5 a.m. Dude, that is so. I would be livid if my neighbor started doing lawn work at 5 a.m.
Which dude is he, Kyle? Camera dude?
The one holding the camera. That'd be funny, right? Like, which one are you? I just like to take the pictures. So you're into photography? No. I just prefer it that way. He's I wrote it in there which one he is.
He needs to stop going. I think he's fucking himself over in the long run trying to speed run with this prostitute strategy.
You're wrong.
Because he's going to get older and older into his 20s without like learning how to organically like get something going in a conversation.
You're wrong.
Nah, that's good experience.
Very funny. This is Painkiller already.
Come on, all you heroin addicts. Bend your knees. And your knees.